Hi, I'm Allie, and we're back with another segment of the Roundtable, and I have Phil and Jack with me this week, and we're going to talk about what's been happening in Michigan basketball the past week and what we can look forward to. So first, we're going to do a little bit of looking forward, and we're going to talk about the women's big game against Notre Dame this Saturday. The Fighting Irish just recently fell out of the top 25 for the first time in, I believe, over 100 weeks. And our women just moved up from the 24-25 slot to number 21. So it was a big week for the women, and we're excited about this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, who'd have thought maybe a year ago that ranked Michigan women's team hosts unranked Notre Dame would be words we'd be saying. But here we are, and it's a really exciting time for our women's team, and they've got a chance to really make a statement and show that they belong in the top 25.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely surprising that Notre Dame is in the position that they are, given that they're like, the Kentucky or Duke of women's basketball. Like, they've been perennial top 5 teams for as long as I can remember. So definitely surprising, but I think it's still like a great opportunity for the women to showcase like what they're about. And like, even though Notre Dame isn't ranked, like, I'm sure they're going to feel the pressure of beating a team like that. And so it should be a great way to prove that this team is the real deal if they can get a win off.
Yeah, Notre Dame graduated, I believe it was like 80% of their scoring from last year graduated or lost to transfers. They've got some really strong freshmen and sophomores, younger ladies kind of leading the team, and that's something that we see a lot in our women's team as well. We've got some really strong sophomores. And so we're going to talk a little bit about the sophomores that we think might be making the leap this season and really being standout stars for the women.
Yeah, sitting in this chair last year, we were excited about Naz Hillman coming off the bench as a freshman, and she clearly took off. And so I would say that we can't really consider her like a potential breakout player this year. I mean, she could always do more, but I don't think the room for improvement is as high as it is for the likes of Amy Dilk, also a sophomore who has been solid, but not, taking over games or anything like that. So definitely like a high ceiling for her. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what she can add to the roster this year, because Naz is always going to be there and solid, but she needs that supporting cast. So hopefully she can start contributing just a little bit more.
Yeah, I like what we've seen from Dilk. I think this is a really deep Michigan women's basketball team, and that's something that is going to help them a lot as we go on in the season. An injury is okay because we've got some good freshmen, and then like you mentioned, Dilk is a good breakout sophomore, and of course, Naz is a leader and a double-double machine. I have to put that in there. So that's it. Like I said, it's an exciting time for our women's team.
Yeah, I think that you guys both mentioned Amy Dilk, and she's been a great point guard for the Wolverines and was really steady her sophomore year, but I think we're going to definitely see a lot more scoring out of her this year. She already recorded her first career double-double in their first game of the season, which was exciting. And it's something that I think pairing her with Naz as their 4 years here continue is going to be a great mix for the Wolverines. And on the men's side, we're going to talk about some of the sophomores also that could maybe be contributing more this year and stepping up.
Right, yeah. I mean, given that we have like 4 sophomores who are all kind of on the verge of stepping up to the plate, Adrian, David, Colin Castleton, and Brandon Johns, who all have had their moments, but none of them have really stepped up to the plate. I know we heard David DeJulius was putting up a ton of threes in the exhibition games this fall, but Castleton and Brandon Johns both, I think, put on some weight this winter, or over the summer, and if they can start getting more rebounds and more points in the paint, I think that's going to be a huge asset for this team. And then lastly, Adrian Nunez, for me, hasn't been super impressive. I know you guys feel somewhat similar, but maybe we can talk a little bit more about that and kind of his place in the starting lineup too.
Yeah, Allie and I kind of theorized at the last game that maybe Nunez is in there to fill in a spot in the starting lineup where we might see Franz Wagner when he comes back from injury. That's 2 guys who are similar play style, guys who you would expect at least to shoot the ball more on the outside, and I think that just kind of fits better for the team and finding that chemistry rather than starting a guy like DeJulius in there.
Right.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think that leaving DeJulius out of the starting lineup is just to kind of give him a feel for what his role is going to be like when Franz comes back. He's going to play that backup 1 and 2 guard during the season. And I think that we touched a little bit on Castleton and Johns' minutes kind of increasing as the season goes on. And I think that we've seen some impressive minutes from both of them, a little bit of shooting from Johns that we didn't see, outside shooting from Johns that we didn't see at all last season, and definitely a stronger Castleton both on the defensive and offensive end. Talking about Nunez's difficulties in the starting lineup, We've been wanting to see a little bit more shooting out of him because he's supposed to be this three-point shooter for us. And we had Duncan Robinson last night match up against John Beeline, John Beeline's Cleveland Cavaliers. And he was a big three-point shooter for us, but last night he shot 80% from behind the three-point arc in the first half.
And that's not 4 out of 5. That's 8 out of 10. He hit 8 threes in the first half. Pretty unbelievable performance. I mean, they were talking about it all across the league, and he ended up scoring 29, including 7 threes in the second quarter, which was a Heat record. Not only 7 threes in one quarter, but 8 threes and a half, both Miami Heat records. And one of the best shooters of all time, if not the best shooter of all time, Ray Allen, is a former Miami Heat player. So he's definitely in good company there. So just, extremely impressive and definitely very happy for him.
Yeah, you think about some of the guys who have played for the Heat in the last decade. I mean, even Mario Chalmers, that was a great shooter. So that's pretty cool for Duncan to do that. And for them to be taking the direction they are, Miami, with him as one of the leaders is pretty cool because that's a team that does have some potential.
Very strong this year. Very strong. So that's probably all we have to talk about for today, I assume.
Yeah, so make sure you tune into the rest of our seconds from this week on our YouTube channel.